ancient supernatural beings sitting in a palace of ice at the bottom of the Pacific, still breathing, waiting for the end of the world. The Book of Enoch is not a submersible mission briefing, but what the text describes when you read it carefully matches what modern deep ocean science keeps finding: living things in the deepest, darkest, coldest parts of the ocean floor, metabolizing in slow motion, sealed under layers of rock and sediment, not dead, not alive in any normal sense, just persisting. Enoch had no submersible, no sediment drill, no sonar, no way to know anything about the ocean below a few hundred feet. He should not describe a sealed structure on a dark stone floor with pillars of fire beside it containing something that breathes. And yet the text sits there in Ge'ez and Aramaic, in fragments found at Qumran, in manuscripts locked in a church in Aksum, saying what it has said for over 2,000 years. What we have to confront is the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. It is made of dark, smooth, volcanic basalt. If hydrothermal vents shoot fire upward from that floor, if dormant living organisms exist sealed beneath centuries of sediment in the deepest ocean, and if a text written before the Roman Empire describes all of that in plain language alongside a sealed prison containing beings that are not dead, then the text is not mythology. It is documentation. Enoch went somewhere, or was shown something.
I ain't never seen.
Then I heard the voice of the Lord saying, Who shall I send? And who will go for us?
I said, Here am I.
Entertainment purposes only.
I took you from the ends of the earth, from its farthest corners I called you. I said, You are my servant. I have chosen you and have not rejected you, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. All who rage against you will surely be ashamed and disgraced. Those who oppose you will be as nothing and perish. Though you search for your enemies, you will not find them. Those who wage war against you will be as nothing at all. For I am the Lord your God, who takes hold of your right hand and says to you, Do not fear, I will help you. This is what the Lord says, Israel's King and Redeemer, the Lord Almighty. I am the first, and I am the last. Apart from me, there is no God. Who then is like me? Let him proclaim it. Let him declare and lay out before me what has happened since I established my ancient people, and what is yet to come. Yes, let them foretell what will come.
A water-damaged parchment leaf sits in a cedar box inside the Church of Our Lady Mary of Zion in Aksum, Ethiopia, part of a manuscript collection that has not left that building in over 400 years. It contains chapters from the Book of Enoch. Church leaders voted Enoch out of Scripture in 364 CE, banned it, buried it, called it dangerous. For 17 centuries it's...
Did they destroy it? No. They took it out. What does that mean to you? 'Cause in the parts that we do have, my father said, if you change one word, I will fuck you up. Hiding something is not changing the words.
Stayed that way. Then in 1947, 11 copies surfaced in the Dead Sea Scrolls at Qumran. More copies than were found of Deuteronomy, more than Exodus, more than most books that stayed in the Bible.
He also said, whatever's in the dark, I'm going to make it come to the light. Oh, whatever you hide, I'm going to make it come to the light one day. It's going to be Armageddon. Because Armageddon means the revealing of knowledge, not the end of the world.
Scholars who translated the oldest fragments found something no one expected. Enoch describes a prison beneath the ocean floor. Not a metaphor. A sealed chamber, constructed before the flood, holding beings God chose not to destroy, only to contain. He names what's inside.
Oh, so my father built the shadow room before he even built the place for people to fuck up at. Oh, is that how I know everyone's gonna lose? Because you don't build prisons and things because you're not gonna put people there. He built these things. See, a long time ago, I thought to myself, being the mortal that I am, and I said, we just keep fucking up. If I was the supreme intelligence, then I would know that they're not me. And they're gonna fuck up. Because they're not me. I'm the one that can be perfect. They're idiots. Because they're not me. Right? So, then, when you're thinking like the Most High, and then you see how pathetic you are, then you think to yourself, how long did it take him before he said, well, I'm gonna design them anyway? How long did it take him to say, I know they're going to betray me? But fuck it, let me make them anyway, because there's going to be a lot of good ones. There's going to be ones that love me, no matter what happens. And that's why I'm going to create the fucking world, and I'm going to create all these things for the ones that love me. And then the ones that don't, oh, I got a special place for you.
He names what's inside. He describes the door. He records why it cannot be opened until the final judgment. In the next several minutes, you will see what the text says, what modern deep-sea research has found in the same location, and why access to the relevant manuscripts has been restricted since 1974. If forbidden biblical history fascinates you, hit subscribe. Every week we uncover what was removed from Scripture. But here's what makes this stranger. The passage appears in two places. The first is Enoch chapters 17 through 19, part of the Book of the Watchers. The second is Enoch chapter 69 in the Parables section, fragment 4Q206, stored at the Israel Museum's Shrine of the Book in Jerusalem, contains Aramaic text from chapter 17 dated to around 100 BCE. The Ethiopian Ge'ez manuscript at Aksum contains the complete version of both sections. Dr. Michael Knibb, whose 1978 Oxford translation remains the standard English edition for scholars, identified chapter 17 as containing geographical language inconsistent with symbolic literature. He meant the text uses compass directions, depth measurements, specific terrain features, not the vague spiritual geography of apocalyptic writing. Something more like a survey report, the kind a geologist files after mapping a site. And this is where it gets disturbing. Chapter 17, verse 5, describes Enoch being taken to a place beyond the Great Sea, where the waters above and below converge. The Ge'ez uses Bahi Abi, the Great Sea, not a river, not a lake, an ocean. Verse 7 describes the floor of this place as dark stone, smooth and cold, unlike any stone found on land.
I wonder why my father would put a prison all the way at the bottom of the ocean. Oh yeah, because he understands humans are never going to figure out how to go all the way down there without killing themselves. It's going to take a long time, maybe around like near the end. Then they'll figure out what's down there.
Dark, smooth, cold. Enoch is describing basalt, the volcanic rock that forms the ocean floor. He had no way to know the ocean floor is paved in basalt. No ancient human had seen it. The deepest any ancient person could dive was perhaps 100 feet. The ocean floor sits 2 miles down on average and nearly 7 miles deep at its lowest. Yet Enoch describes it accurately. What we're looking at is a 3-part description of what lies beneath. The text begins with the structure. Chapter 18, verse 9 says Enoch was shown a deep place in the earth, and columns of fire descended into it, and I saw pillars of fire falling downward without end. This is hydrothermal activity, underwater volcanic vents that shoot superheated water into the ocean, some reaching temperatures of 750 degrees Fahrenheit. The ancients called them pillars of fire. We call them black smokers. Same phenomenon, different century. But the text doesn't stop there. What follows in chapter 18, verse 11, is the prison itself. Enoch writes,
Wow, that just made the Star Wars thing and like because you can't picture the Bible because they don't show pictures of it. Well, they always say that the same thing about the Lord, but it's on a mountain. He came in a pillar of fire. Moses went to the mountain, and then a pillar of fire came. What if that's exactly what it says? And Moses went to a fucking volcano, and like, how did he survive? Oh yeah, he went to meet God. Can you stand in front of a volcano with no hazard suit while it erupts and still like be there? I don't think no one's gonna do that.
Beyond the pillars of fire, I saw a great house built from stones of hail and ice, and it had walls of fire around it, and a door I could not open. A house of ice surrounded by fire, impenetrable. Chapter 19, verse 1 identifies what is inside.
See, my daddy is so nice. He makes houses for you. Well, prisons look like houses too, though.
The angel Uriel tells Enoch, "Here shall the angels who cohabited with women stand. Their spirits, taking many forms, defile men and lead them astray to offer sacrifices to demons as to gods."
Oh, so now we know where they are. Okay, cause everybody seems to blame like one guy. The devil did it. It was his Hazel. It was his right? And my father said, niggas did shit a long time ago, and I kicked ass from the beginning, from the very beginning. You see, these guys he's talking about are like, not only the fallen, it seems like, because he said, they're teaching women, they're defiling themselves or whatever, but he's later gonna say that, something about, spirits are put there, but they got put there because they were there in the beginning and they moved out of their fucking place. And my father doesn't like that. When he gives you a job, you take it because there is nothing else. And if you do something else, you get punished. So before Satan fell, niggas was already getting thrown down there. Niggas was already down there. You get it? See, I figured this out without reading all Enoch, even though I've grazed past it and all this. But I had these thoughts and stuff of what made Satan do what he did. Because it only can be you learned something. So someone told you something. You saw something. And then it gave you an idea. And then that idea fucked your shit up and made you move out of place.
And lead them astray to offer sacrifices to demons as to gods. These are not the same as the watchers imprisoned beneath the desert. These are different beings. They're spirits that...
You see? Even he knows. My father put niggas in the desert, the Euphrates and shit, and all that over there, whatever the fuck, and he locked them in the earth. But these dudes, I never heard of these dudes because it's in the Book of Enoch. But I did read a little bit of Book of Enoch. But there's so much in this world, and my father likes to make me learn things over and over and over, and then learn something. I'm like, wait up, I've already known this, but I don't know it. How the fuck is that even real?
Text says are still active, still able to influence events on the surface, even while the bodies are sealed below. The prison contains their physical forms. Their influence escapes through the door. What follows in chapter 69...
Oh.
Peace is a lie.
So we found the Sith.
There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The Force shall set me free.
Wait up. Whoa. He's admitting he's in chains and that the Force, the Father, will set him free. Why the fuck would my father do that?
Every day, Mark Zuckerberg wore the same. What follows in chapter 69 is stranger still. Enoch provides the name of the being who manages the seal. Verse 14 names him as Caspiel, described as the one who revealed the secret oath to the holy Michael. The oath is what keeps the door shut. Chapter 69, verse 15 records.
Who's this guy to have knowledge over Michael, the champion of the Lord, to go beat up Satan? Oh yeah, he's a soldier. This guy's obviously a book kind of learning guy, so like, you know, those are the guys you usually, you know, tell things and then say, hey soldier, we got new orders. Here's something, this is what you're doing this for. Good job for winning. Now do this.
Towards the oath itself. The oath Bika, sworn before creation. Before the ocean existed.
Oh, this is before everything was even done. My father's already planning it out and saying, yeah, watch out for that nigga Satan right there. He's gonna betray you. Hey Michael, just be ready.
Before the floor was laid, the seal on this prison was agreed upon before the prison was built. It was planned. The containment of whatever lives beneath the ocean floor was not a response to an emergency. It was a design decision. The distinction matters. Enoch describes two separate categories of imprisoned beings. The Watchers under the Judean desert are awaiting trial. They are held in temporary detention before sentencing.
You know, like solitary confinement, that means you did things really bad, really bad, and you're gonna, you know, but at least you're not, like you're in the hole, you're in the holding cell, but you're gonna get judged, and then you're going to jail, but jail's not jail. They know where they're going. But I don't know, it seems a little more, you know, when you get locked up, all these things have, everything you do gets the determination. If you get about to get locked up for drinking, right, you can get handcuffed and gently put in the car. Or you could be belligerent and stupid and talk tough, and it can fucking rough you up and get you in the car. Either way, you're going in the car.
But the beings beneath the ocean are described differently. Chapter 19, verse 3 adds a detail most Western translations drop entirely. The Ge'ez says their imprisonment is li'alam we'aleim, for ages upon ages. That phrase appears elsewhere in Enoch, only in context describing permanent conditions. Not a holding cell, a permanent installation. Whatever is under the ocean floor was not detained to await judgment. It was removed from the world and sealed away from it indefinitely. What makes this...
Oh, my father made an actual shadow room on Earth. Oh, did I find the shadows? There's really a shadow room? Really? I didn't know that. When I say it, I be like, you know, I have a strong belief. And it's because of what he said in the beginning. I came out of the shadows. I was in the darkness, and then I formed the light. And then that makes me think the ultimate punishment would be him saying, there's a piece of darkness that I never, you know, made light on, and I'll just put you over there. And since you think you're me, since you want to fuck my shit up, now you sit over there like I did, and you figure out how to make all the fucking great things that I did. Because you're me, remember?
This detail unsettling is the reason given. God did not destroy these beings. He could have. The flood destroyed everything on the surface.
You know, father's love, you know, like these are your children. These are your first children, and they're probably favorites. You probably gave them really good positions and shit, and then they betray you. See, Earth fathers would put you, and your head would come right off your shoulders. You'd burn in the furnace, would hang you, with fucking, we'll do all types of things. The Lord, though, he can do things that he understands. He understands there's more than just, You know, death is just too easy for some people. You gotta make examples so the others will learn.
But these beings were sealed rather than eliminated. Chapter 10, verse 9 records God's instruction, destroy all the souls of lust and the children of the watchers. Surface beings, destroyed. But chapter 19 describes a different class of being that receives a different sentence, containment instead of destruction, sealing instead of annihilation. The text implies these beings could not simply be unmade, they had to be held. The architecture Enoch describes is worth slowing down on. He doesn't say a dark.
Oh, so that's where I always have that. See, what do I keep saying about Aang? And the ultimate lesson my father taught me about power. If you can take someone's power, you know, there's always a way. You don't need to fight anybody. There's always a way to just strip them of their power.
Place, he gives materials. Chapter 18, verse 9 specifies the walls are made of stones of hail, ice compressed under enormous pressure, white, blue, and translucent. The floor is that dark basalt, smooth and cold to the touch. Fire burns along the perimeter walls but does not melt the ice. Enoch doesn't try to explain that, he just records it, the way a first responder writes what they saw without editorializing. Outside the structure, pillars of superheated water rise from vents in the ocean floor, glowing orange and red in the surrounding darkness. He describes the sound as constant, a low, sustained roar, like something pressurized and contained. The door is set into the ice wall on the side facing away from the vents. Enoch writes that he reached toward it and Uriel stopped him. No explanation given, just do not touch it. There is one more detail from the same passage that Western editions strip out entirely.
I wonder why.
The Ge'ez text adds that the door has no handle on the outside. It can only be opened from within. Enoch notes this without comment. Uriel doesn't explain it. The text moves on. But the implication sits there. Whatever is inside is not trying to get out, or it cannot. Either way, the door was not designed for a visitor. It was designed for a warden. And then come.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set me free. There is
Yeah, I thought to myself a couple days ago, because, all the cartoons I watch, all the movies I've ever seen, there's always comes a time where the bad guys and the good guys meet the real badass. They meet Billy Badass, and Billy Badass doesn't like anybody. He doesn't want anything. You can't bribe him. He only wants to see everyone go away. And I don't know if that's the situation.
no peace. There is anger. There is no fear.
I can sing any song with
For a warden. And then comes the part the translators removed. The standard English editions of Enoch, including R.H. Charles's 1906 translation, that most people still reference, render chapter 17 verse 8 as, I saw the treasuries of the winds, treasury of winds. Abstract, poetic. The Ge'ez manuscript in Aksum is more specific. Dr. Ephraim Isaac, who produced the 1983 Oxford translation directly from the Ethiopian manuscripts, noted in a private correspondence later archived at the University of Manchester that the Ge'ez phrase is Adar Nafas, which carries a secondary meaning, the reservoir of breath, not winds in the meteorological sense. The breath of living things, stored, held. The full passage he wrote implies
What, like the breath of life?
the place beneath the ocean contains something alive that is still breathing. Here's what the translators left out. That phrase, the reservoir of breath, appears one more time in Enoch. Chapter 61, verse 5, uses the same Ge'ez construction to describe the breath of the righteous dead being preserved until resurrection. Same word, same construction. Two different contexts. In chapter 61, it's the breath of souls awaiting resurrection. In chapter 17, it's the breath of whatever is sealed beneath the ocean floor. The parallel is exact. The text is using resurrection language to describe the contents of a deep-sea prison. What modern readers don't realize is how specifically this matches what oceanographers have found at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. In 2020, a team at the Japan Agency for Marine Earth Science and Technology drilled sediment cores from the ocean floor of the South Pacific Gyre, the most lifeless region of the deepest ocean on Earth. They found something alive inside the cores, microbial cells, dormant, buried under more than 200 feet of sediment, in rock layers over 100 million years old. The cells were still metabolically active. They were still breathing, still consuming oxygen, at a rate so slow that one breath, by their measurement, takes 10,000 years. The lead researcher, Dr. Yuki Morono, described the organisms as existing in a state that had no scientific category, not alive in any normal sense, not dead, just waiting. Enoch wrote this around 200 BCE.
Waiting for what?
In 2020, scientists found living things beneath the ocean floor, metabolizing at rates that make a human lifetime look like a blink, sealed in sediment that formed before the dinosaurs existed. The text describes living things sealed beneath the ocean that are still breathing. The science found living things sealed beneath the ocean that are still breathing. The parallel is not metaphorical, it is structural. The implications of the Morono study were significant enough that a second team, this one from the Woods Hole Oceanographic Institution in Massachusetts, conducted a follow-up survey in 2022. They drilled. Enoch placed a prison below the ocean, different location, testable claim. If the prison is under the ocean, someone could look for it. That made the text threatening in a way that purely symbolic apocalyptic writing was not. Jerome, compiling the Latin Vulgate around 400 CE, dismissed Enoch's ocean chapters as confused accounts of creation unworthy of serious study. Augustine, writing in the City of God around 410 CE, argued the ocean abyss passages were borrowed from pagan sea mythology. Neither man addressed the geological specifics. Neither explained why Enoch knew the ocean floor was made of dark, smooth stone. The Ethiopian Church, operating independently of Rome, kept Enoch in its canon. When the Scottish explorer James Bruce brought 3 Ge'ez manuscripts to Europe in 1773, the ocean chapters attracted immediate theological controversy. Oxford scholars who examined them called the deep-sea prison passages irreconcilable with Mosaic cosmology in an 1821 review. R.H. Charles, producing his 1906 English translation, added a footnote suggesting the ocean house of ice was probably a garbled memory of Arctic exploration. No ancient Judean writer had been to the Arctic. Charles had no explanation. He offered one anyway. There is one more layer to the suppression that most researchers miss. When the Dead Sea Scrolls were first cataloged in the early 1950s, the ocean floor chapters of Enoch were assigned to the lowest publication priority. The scholars managing the scroll publication project, a team coordinated by the École Biblique in Jerusalem, divided the fragments into categories. Fragments touching on restricted after 1974, following the Ethiopian Revolution, when the new government classified church archives as national cultural property. Dr. James Vanderkam of the University of Notre Dame, one of the foremost living authorities on Enoch scholarship, applied for access in 1988, denied. He applied again in 1997, denied. In a 2001 interview with Biblical Archaeology Review, Vanderkam stated that at least 3 passages in the Ge'ez manuscript tradition are known to scholars through secondary references, but have not been available for direct examination in over 50 years. Now here's where it gets active. In 2019, a Norwegian oceanographic research vessel called the Kronprins Haakon, operated by the Institute of Marine Research, conducted a deep-sea survey of a geologically anomalous region in the South Atlantic, approximately 800 miles west of Namibia. The survey detected acoustic signatures at a depth of 4 miles that the ship's instruments could not classify. The lead researcher filed a preliminary report with the Norwegian Research Council describing the signals as inconsistent with known geological or biological sources at that depth. The report was classified as a restricted internal document. A summary was published in 2021, with the acoustic data section redacted. 2 requests under Norwegian Freedom of Information law to access the full report have been declined. Now, let me be clear. I'm not saying there are ancient supernatural beings sitting in a palace of ice at the bottom of the Pacific, still breathing, waiting for the end of the world.
Me neither.
The Book of Enoch is not a submersible mission briefing. But what the text describes when you read it carefully matches what modern deep ocean science keeps finding: living things in the deepest, darkest, coldest parts of the ocean floor, metabolizing in slow motion, sealed under layers of rock and sediment, not dead, not alive in any normal sense, just persisting. Enoch had no submersible, no sediment drill, no sonar, no way to know anything about the ocean below a few hundred feet. He should not describe a sealed structure on a dark stone floor with pillars of fire beside it containing something that breathes. And yet the text sits there in Ge'ez and Aramaic, in fragments found at Qumran, in manuscripts locked in a church in Aksum, saying what it has said for over 2,000 years. What we have to confront is the simplest explanation that fits the evidence. If the ocean floor is made of dark, smooth volcanic basalt, if hydrothermal vents shoot fire upward from that floor, if dormant living organisms exist sealed beneath centuries of sediment in the deepest ocean, and if a text written before the Roman Empire describes all of that in plain language alongside a sealed prison containing beings that are not dead, then the text is not mythology. It is documentation. Enoch went somewhere, or was shown something, that gave him knowledge no person in 2000 BCE should possess.
Peace is a lie. There is only passion. Through passion, I gain strength. Through strength, I gain power. Through power, I gain victory. Through victory, my chains are broken. The force shall set me free. There is no peace. There is anger. There is no fear. There is power. There is no death. There's immortality. There's no weakness. There is the dark side. I am the heart of the darkness. I know no fear. I instill fear in my enemies. I am the destroyer of worlds.
Now, I'm gonna end it with this. I only got 3 minutes. One of the greatest enemies and greatest arcs of Dragon Ball Z is the Majin Buu saga. I always keep playing it, right? And everything's for a reason. I don't even be knowing sometimes until later on. So, in that, Vegeta's stupid ass pride to want to be better than Goku, he fights him like he wanted to all those days, all those years. And that made the bad guy come. He needed their energy. He needed real niggas, good and bad, to keep going. And then he could absorb it and then come out and teach everybody a lesson because he was there first. He's been around first. Or whatever maniacal fucking thing that, cartoons are just fucking retarded. They don't have real. But, I don't know. hopefully, my father, just locked the door, and just like he said, like I read somewhere in a text somewhere where it says the angels, the stars, they moved out of place. Daddy said, all right, you're going over there now permanently, and we're gonna continue the show. And they seem to have like Professor X powers, you know. So I think people need to be strong with the mind, and I don't know anymore. I don't know what to believe. I do know I keep running into things that keep matching up to things, and you know, what's it called? Spider-Man Secret Wars. Go watch that cartoon. Best fucking anime ever. All love, all praise to the Most High.